Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Getting Started with History Day. I'm Jill Hutchison. I'm the Youth Services Coordinator for St. Mary's County Library, and with us is Catherine.
Catherine Humphreys, the Head of Education for Historic Sotterley, and the
And
History Day Coordinator for St. Mary's County.
very good. So what we're going to go over tonight is all about History Day, especially St. Mary's County History Day, what it is, how you can get involved, and then a little bit about resources you can find at the public library to do your History Day project and make it awesome. So let me go ahead and share the screen because we have some slides. And oh, here comes someone else. Yeah. All right, take it away, Catherine.
All right, so this is for St. Mary's County History Day, and this year's contest is in partnership with Historic Sotterley, St. Mary's County Public Library, as well as Maryland Humanities. So what is History Day is a big question. History Day is a part of a national series of contests and competitions held in all 50 states. The St. Mary's County Division is a local contest. The contest levels go county or city, then state, and then the federal contest or national contest. It's our luck here in Southern Maryland that the local contest are, of course, and held in our own home counties, but our state contest is in Baltimore, and people who receive a first or second prize in a contest here in the county move up to the state contest, and the national contest is held at the University of Maryland College Park, which is not that far, really. Each year there is a different theme. This year for History Day, the theme is Frontiers in History, People, Places, and Ideas. These are intentionally broad topics, giving students an abundance of ideas to kind of get a topic or a theme of their own kind of gelling and let their creative juices and analytical skills go. One thing it's really important to keep promoting is the involvement of Maryland Humanities. They make the state county level contest possible, and they provide a lot of resources on the Maryland Humanities website, as well as you can find more information at the National History Day website. But the theme is pretty interesting this year. It is Frontiers in History, People, Places, and Ideas. Okay. So the contest details, there are a variety of project formats. You can choose to do the more popular exhibit, which is usually a trifold poster or some kind of display. You can do a critical skills or research paper. You could do a performance. You can create a 10-minute documentary, and you can create a mini web page or website focusing on your topic based on this year's theme. And information about each of those can be found in the contest rulebook, which is a downloadable document. I do recommend that if you have the chance that you take a look at that. The competition itself is open to students at the county level in grades 4th through 12th. Grades 4th through 8th are entered into the junior contest division, and grades 9th through 12th are entered into the senior division. It's students in grades 6 through 12 that have the ability to move forward to the state contest. However, students in grades 4 through 5th are encouraged to participate at the county level. And there's a little incentive. There are some awards. We'll have about 2 or 3 awards that we give out this year, some of which have cash prizes with them, which is kind of a great support from our community for this event. Again, this is open to students in grades 4 through 12. Students can register as individuals. You can do an individual performance or presentation or documentary or paper, or you can do something in a group. And all your group members need to be present unless some extreme circumstance happens. They need to be present for judging as well. One of the more popular exhibits top forms of projects is group performances as well as group exhibits, and those tend to be the largest number of projects we see each year. All projects have some aspects that are required. One of them is a process paper, and a process paper is no more than 500 words, and it must address the following things. How did you choose your topic? How did you conduct your research? Hint, hint, visit the library. How did you create your project? What is your historical argument? And in what ways is your topic significant in history? And it must address how your topic is related to the theme. So it must address, if you're talking about space race, how that is relevant to frontiers in history. And this is a mandatory part of any project. For it to be judged, you have to have a process paper. And a good way to learn more on creating these is you can talk to your teachers, you can come and email me about a process paper, but for a lot of this information, like how did you conduct your research, go to the county library. They have a lot of resources there. Another thing, this is a little more complicated because technically students don't really learn how to do this until middle school, high school, but that's creating an annotated bibliography. There's a lot of online help to create one of these if you're unfamiliar with it. But an annotated bibliography basically is going to help describe your resources. You must include 2 sections. One is a section on primary resources. Primary resources are resources that date back to a specific moment in history that you're going to be referencing. They are original to that era. And then you have to have a section on secondary sources. Those are a lot of books and articles and things written by historians or people with an interest in history. And again, the library is an excellent resource to go to when researching. They have access to primary and secondary resources, and they can help guide you. You must include anything that you've used for research. How to register. Click on that link for the St. Mary's County History Day registration. It's a little bit of a process, so always feel free to email me if you have any issues with registering. It won't say registration is completed until you have, or your student has not only put in their name and their email, but their project type, their project title, and a description of what they're going to be doing. And we'll take registration for projects actually right up until a couple of days before History Day, which is March 4th at the Leonardtown Library, just because we want to give people as much of an opportunity as possible to create something. For additional information, again, you can contact me. My email is edteam, EDTEAM, @Sotterley, SOTTERLEY.org. Or you can click on the National History Day website, which is, the link is here. And you can also check out the Maryland Humanities website as well. They also have information about the county and state level contest. So again, it's at March 4th. Start time is 9 o'clock at the Leonardtown Public Library. And I hope if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm here to help.
Catherine, I have a question. Does the
Yes.
bibliography have to be in a specific type or format?
As long as it's consistent with it being an annotated bibliography, usually Chicago style for senior level, but MLA also works for the younger upper elementary level. Either one of those formats. The bibliography does not count towards the word count for the process paper. Separate documents.
Good to know. Right. Does anybody else have any questions on History Day, how to register, types of projects? All right, then. We're going to move into the second half of this presentation, which is library resources for your History Day project. So pretty much everything we're going to discuss today, the starting point to find it is the library's website, which is www.st for Saint, MA for Mary's, LIB for library.org. So before we get too deep into that, for a lot of these resources, you're going to need a library card. Most of you probably already have one, but I just wanted to quickly go over that you can apply online on the library website, or you can come in person. If you are under 18, you need to bring a parent or guardian with you, and they will, sign that they'll help you be responsible for your library materials. Oh, I see in the chat, Catherine, Carol wants to know, can we use Legos for the History Day project?
Oh, that's interesting. You could create an exhibit with Legos.
Very cool. Yeah, I could see a diorama or something like that.
Yeah, that would be a great exhibit piece.
Yeah. All right. And so going back to library cards, kids under 18 are also eligible for a special kids card. This one does not need a grown-up to sign for it. You can check out up to 5 things at a time. There's no fines or late fees for anything you borrow. But importantly, you can get full access to all the online resources that we're going to talk about tonight. And if any of you are public school students in St. Mary's County, you automatically have a kids card. It's the virtual smart card. So you didn't actually get a physical library card, but your library card number is the initials SMCPS and then your school student network ID plus the last 4 of your student ID. So that sounds complicated, but basically there's SMCPS, and like if it was me, my name is Jill Hutchison, so mine would probably be J Hutch is as my student ID, and then the last 4 numbers of my student ID number, and then your password is based on your birthday. So if you were born on September 1st, your password is 0901. That sounds complicated, but you can talk to your media specialist or check with us at the public library if you don't know your smart card login. All right, so the next thing we want to cover is how to find things in the library. So we're going to talk about the Cosmos catalog. This is the online catalog that lets us find things. Click here, get to mine. All right, so here we are on the library website. And if we want to search for something in the catalog, we're going to start right here at the search box. And we're going to say, let's see, let's say we're doing our History Day project on a Black history topic, the Negro Leagues in baseball. So I'm going to search Negro Leagues baseball. Make sure this says the catalog and search. And that's going to take us to Cosmos, which is the library catalog, and it's going to show us all of the different things that are on that topic in the library. Now, this catalog includes everything in St. Mary's County libraries and also Charles and Calvert County libraries, and you can get things from any library in the Tri-County area sent to the one closest to you. I'm going to show you a little bit how to do that. But first I want to show you that besides just keyword searching, there's lots of options to find exactly what you need. So, for example, maybe you only want to search by subject, or maybe you want all the keywords. You can also search by an author, by genres, by series, all kinds of information. You can also limit to what you're looking for, like maybe you're only looking for books. Let's see what we get when we search just books. So it goes down from 53 to 43. So 10 of those things were DVDs or audiobooks and so on. You can also, over here, limit it to just one library. Let's say Charlotte Hall is my closest library. These are the things on that topic that are at Charlotte Hall Library. Let's see, if I want to look at this book, I can click on availability and see that it's checked in at all these libraries. That's great. So if I got a ride to Charlotte Hall Library right now, this item would be on the bookshelf, and that is the call number of where you will find it in the kids nonfiction section. So that's pretty easy. But what if the item that you want is not at your library, not the library closest to your house, or not checked in right now? Well, one of the things you can do is place a hold request. So if you find the item that you want in the catalog, you click on this button that says place hold request. You'll have to put in your library card number and your password. Mine is saved on my computer, so I don't have to type it in. And log in. And then you need to say where you want to pick it up. If I live closest to the Charlotte Hall Library, I'm going to pick that and submit request. Ta-da! So it says your request has been placed. And what will happen after that is when the book is ready for you to pick up, when it's been sent from the library that has it to the library where you want to pick it up, or if it was checked out, when it gets turned in, the library will email you or text you or call you, whatever you have set up on your library account, to let you know the book is there. And then you have a week to come and get it. So that's placing holds. The other thing I wanted to show you is that if you're logged into Cosmos, so you've already put in your library card number and your password, you can create lists. So let's see. I made a list of cookbooks I want to try. And anytime I log back into Cosmos, that list is there for me. So if you were working on your research topic, let's see, what would be a good topic to research? Let's say the Trail of Tears. And I start finding some books that I am interested in, and I just want to start a list right now. I'm just looking for things and making a list of books that I want to check out or see. So here's one called Nellie the Brave, the Cherokee Trail of Tears. There's a little link here that says add to list. If you've already got a list started, you can pick that list, or you can click on new list and call it something like History Day Project and create your list. Now, if we keep searching, we find some more things. Let's see, maybe I want to look at this one. I'll add that one to my History Day project list. Oh, here's a good one. Cornerstones of Freedom is a good series. I'm going to add that to my list. And after a while, I've got several things on my list. I'm going to come over here to my lists and click on History Day project. And I can do lots of things. I can go back to my list and click on something and place it on hold or find it in the library. Another cool thing I can do is over here where it says format, I can turn this into a bibliography. One of the formats that Ms. Catherine mentioned was the Chicago style of bibliography. So if I click on that, this is exactly how you would put these items in your annotated bibliography. So you would put this in there and then you would add a note saying a little bit more about it. That's the annotated part, is the notes that you add about how you use that material. So those are some advanced things that you can do in Cosmos. The next thing I wanted to show you were some of our online resources that can help you find those primary and secondary sources. So let's go back to our slideshow here. Okay, so we also, I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of the physical library materials that we have that you can find using Cosmos. At the Leonardtown Library, we have a special section called the Maryland Room, and this is where all of our local history is. So we have books and other materials in here that are about the state of Maryland, Southern Maryland, and St. Mary's County specifically. We have family histories, we have local history books, we have some things that were written or put together by the St. Mary's County Historical Society. We have magazines, we have government documents. So there are a lot of neat resources there that you might not find anywhere else. Every branch has a nonfiction section with lots of books on lots of historical topics. So even if you can't come to the Leonardtown Library, there are plenty of secondary sources you can find there. And I already mentioned that you can also request materials from any library in Calvert Charles or St. Mary's to be sent to the one closest to you to pick up. Now, what if you found maybe in your research, you found a bibliography somewhere online that suggests a book that's just the perfect book for your topic, and you want to get it, but we don't have it in any of our Southern Maryland libraries? There is a system called Marina that you can use. Let me get back to here and go back to the library's website. And you can request an item from any library anywhere in the state of Maryland. Now, this is going to take a little longer, but you'll go to the library website and under Read, Listen, Watch, scroll down until it says Search Maryland Libraries. Click on Marina. It's going to ask you for your library card number. Takes a minute. So it starts with a simple search, but you can also do an advanced search if you want to put in the title, the author, and all the information you have. Now I'm just going to think of a book title that I know exists. Oh, Satch and Me. There we are. So this is a kid's fiction book based on the great Satchel Paige baseball player. And if I really wanted to get a copy of that book to use it, say, as a source for a skit or performance that I was going to do, and I wanted it, and St. Mary's County Library or any of the other Southern Maryland libraries didn't have a copy anymore, I could find it in Marina. I could see, oh, that's actually an electronic copy. Let me find a book. Here we are. You know what? We're going to do this one instead. Baseball's Great Experiment. And so this is a book. The other one was an ebook. And I can, again, I have to tell it where I want to pick it up. I'm going to pick it up at Charlotte Hall Library because that's the one closest to my house. And I click Request. And this library that owns it, Western Maryland Public Library, is going to send a copy all the way down here to St. Mary's County for me to pick up. So you can get any book in any public library anywhere in the state of Maryland by using Marina. So to show you again, start on the library website, go on the Read, Listen, Watch menu, and click Search Maryland Libraries. So again, if you find the title of a book that you think would be great for your project and we don't have it in the Cosmos catalog, don't give up. You can search for it anywhere in Maryland and get that book. All right, back to our slides here. I also want to show you some of our online resources. We have a whole lot of databases that have both primary and secondary sources in them. So I'm going to show you one of our Gale databases, and we have lots of them, but I'm just going to show you one so you see how they work. And we also have a great resource specifically for local history, the St. Mary's County Newspaper Archive. So, back to our website. Let's see. So to find all these online resources, you're going to go to the Research and Learn tab, and you can go to all online resources. You could go to genealogy and local history if that's specifically what you're after. Let's go to all online resources and then pick the history and government category. And I just want to show you one of our many Gale resources. Thank you, Becca. She put the link in the chat there. This is Gale in Context High School. There's one for middle school, and I believe there's one for elementary school as well. So this has tons of sources in it. And you can start with a simple subject search, or you can do an advanced search right off the bat, where you can search by keyword. You can say, I only want full text documents. That means that it has the whole thing in the Gale database. So there are a lot of things in there that is just the bibliography information. But then you have to go somewhere else to actually find the article or book or whatever it is. So I recommend starting your search with full text documents selected. You can pick what kinds of things you're looking for. Maybe you only want primary sources and reference articles. So that would be like things from a reference book, like an encyclopedia, dictionary, biographical dictionary. Let's see, we'll also add news. So we're going to search for those things. Let's go back to my original topic of Negro Leagues baseball. I'm going to search for that. And it's found me several things. It found me 5 reference articles and 157 news articles. So let's see, in reference articles, this might be a good one to start with because it's an overview. It tells you about the Negro Leagues, its history. And then over here on the side, it gives you more like this. So if you found one article or one thing in the Gale databases that is what you're looking for, you can use the more like this to find all the other articles that they have on the same topic. So you could click through all of those, and then just like our library catalog, the Gale databases have a source citation function. So you could click on MLA and it formats it in that style. You could click on Chicago and it formats it in that style. So again, you would copy and paste this right into your bibliography and then add your own notes about what you found in this article and how you used it for the annotated part. When you find something good in the Gale databases, you can click Send to add it to your Google Drive or OneDrive or to email it to yourself. You can also download it. If I were to click on this, it would download it as a PDF right to the computer that I'm working on, or you can print it out. You can also just click Get Link and get this link. And if you were working with a group, you could email your group members this link to share this article with them. So that's just a little bit about our Gale databases. Let's see. So next I want to show you our Southern Maryland Newspaper Archive. So again, you go to the library's website, you go to Research and Learn. The bottom thing in that menu is the Local Newspaper Archive. This is pretty cool, but it's a little bit harder to use than the Gale databases. So there are two main newspapers that have been printed in St. Mary's County since the county began. The oldest one is the St. Mary's Beacon. It started in 1839. In those days, that paper was called the Leonardtown Herald. And then the name pretty quickly changed to the Beacon. For a few years, it was called the St. Mary's Gazette. But for the most part, it was the Beacon. And it printed until 1984. And you can also find some of the St. Mary's Beacon in another database that I'll show you shortly. So we have the later ones. This is from 1923 to 1984. But as I said, the newspaper started in 1839. So if you want the older ones, you're going to have to use a different newspaper database that I will show you shortly. The Enterprise is the newspaper that we still have today. And it started in 1882. It went out of business for a while, and then it came back. And it's been published out of Lexington Park since 1952. This collection covers 1952 to the present day, well, to about 3 months ago, actually, with some gaps. And anything newer than 3 months ago would still be on the Southern Maryland News website as well. Other things here, if you're doing military history, you might be interested in command histories. These are historical documents from Naval Air Station Patuxent River. And then the tester is the newspaper of Naval Air Station Patuxent River. And we have all of those on here as well. So let's say we want to look for something in the Enterprise. No, let's do St. Mary's Beacon about suffrage. Let's see if there's anything there. Let's see. The St. Mary's Beacon, 1981. Oh, so once you have done a search, it's going to list the things in the order that the search engine thinks is most relevant. But if you're looking for a specific time period, you can sort them by date. So the oldest one is from 1924. And there it is. We can pull it up. Takes a minute. There we go. And so somewhere on this page, there's a reference to suffrage, probably relating to women's suffrage. And you have to look through it pretty carefully until you find what you're looking for. But as you can see, this is the original newspaper page from 1924, and it's pretty cool. Now, the search engine for this newspaper archive isn't really very powerful. So it's helpful if you already pretty much know what you're looking for, like the name of a person, the date, or at least close to the date of the event you're trying to find information about, because it's really just keyword searching. But if you know what you're looking for, you can find some really cool stuff in here. All right, moving on. Next, I want to show you Chronicling America, which is Maryland's newspapers. Let me find that tab. Whee! Here we are. So this, you can also find this from the Online Resources tab on the library website, and this is actually a database from the Library of Congress. They have also scanned and digitized thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of newspapers from all across the country, and this list is just for Maryland. So depending on the topic that you're researching, you might just want a Southern Maryland newspaper, or maybe you're interested in newspapers that were printed in Baltimore or other areas around the state that would have information on happenings in the wider area. But if we scroll way down to the bottom, we can find the St. Mary's Beacon. And so they have the starting from 1852 when the St. Mary's Beacon was just started. So that's much earlier than what we have on the archive on the library's website. And for a few years in the middle there, in the 1860s, that same newspaper went by the name St. Mary's Gazette. So it's kind of listed in there twice, depending on what time period you're looking for. All right, so that is Chronicling America. What if your project has to do with, one second, gotta find it. Let me go here. Native Americans or Indigenous people of Maryland. Well, this is a pretty neat online resource. It's a website, but it's also an app that you can download to your mobile device. It's called Indigenous Maryland, and it's a guide to locations around the state that are related to Indigenous history, with links to other resources. And the main way you move around it is by using the map. So we can click on map here, scroll down. Let's see, let's look for something near us. Here we are in St. Mary's County. This was right by my house. I live in Chaptico. So if I click on this dot, it's going to tell us about Chaptico Indian Town. And it has a description. So it talks about what Chaptico Indian Town was, when it was founded, information about it. So there's an image at the top. There is, it explains what that image is and that it was found from the Library of Congress. So if you wanted to use that image, you could go to the Library of Congress website and search for it and get a better copy. And then it has works cited. So this one about Chaptico Indian Town only has one link, but some of them, let's go over to Calvert County and click on this one. And it tells you about the town of Quomocac, which is located in what is now Jefferson Patterson Park and Museum. Again, it has information about that site, and it has multiple different resources you can click on. So you could click on this one and get a Washington Post article. There we go. So this is an article about that site, and you can use those for your research. So that's Indigenous Maryland. I already showed you Chronicling American News. Okay, another good site to check out is Digital Maryland. So this is a great place to look for primary sources. So this website is local history, oral history, gathered from all over Maryland that has been made available online. So you can go through collections. You can search for a specific topic. Let's see. So if I search for Negro Leagues, here we are. So this is an oral history. So that's a primary source. This is somebody who was there telling their story with somebody who actually was a pitcher in the Negro Leagues. And then there are other, it looks like lots of different copies of a speech that was given at the Negro League Hall of Fame opening. Let's see. Lots of topics there. So you can search by topic, or you can look through the collections of what's available. So Let's see, there's all kinds of things. If you're studying the Great Baltimore Fire, there's a whole collection of things like that. If you're studying aviation, the history of flying in Maryland, there's a whole collection on that. If we go all the way to page 5, here's some, oh, this should look familiar, Catherine, Sotterley Plantation. This is a collection of digital primary sources about Sotterley Plantation. And then this is the Southern Maryland StoryCorps project. StoryCorps is an organization that collects oral histories and interviews of people. So all kinds of neat things here that you can find. Next one I want to show you is Heritage Quest. So this is another database. It's mainly used for family history and genealogy, but it has some pretty cool stuff in it. So it has city directories, so basically like the yellow pages. Those of you who are still students, I don't know if you're old enough to remember the yellow pages, but basically it's a big book that lists everybody who lives in a certain town and their addresses, and if it was after the invention of the telephone, their telephone numbers, and it can give you some really great information. There are census maps that you can use to like zero in on who was living at a particular place at a particular time. If you're studying Indigenous history, they have U.S. Indian census rolls. Those were collected separately from the rest of the population. All kinds of things. And they also have local history books that have been digitized that you can search through. Census records, Revolutionary War records, if you're going back that far. All kinds of interesting primary sources. It can be a little difficult to search because it's set up to search for specific people with the idea that people are looking for their ancestors. But again, if you know the names of somebody that you're looking for more information on, of somebody that was involved in the historical event that you're researching, you can find some pretty neat stuff in here. And then it's Black History Month after all, so let's look at a specific database on Black history. This is the African American History Database from Infobase. So this is a different publisher than the Gale one I showed you earlier, so it works a little different, but it has a ton of primary sources. You can do a search, you can browse by topic. So let's say we want to learn about the Underground Railroad. It's got videos and slideshows that you can look at. It's got a list of primary source documents that you can look at. It's got maps and charts. It's got a timeline. And then it has suggested research topics that are related to the topic of the Underground Railroad. Let's see. So let's pick primary source. Notice on a runaway slave and her children. So here we are. This was something that was printed in a Kentucky newspaper. So this enslaved woman and her 3 children were missing. They had probably run away. And the person who had enslaved them put an ad in the newspaper to try to get other people to help him find this lady and her children to bring them back. So this is exactly what was printed in the newspaper. Definitely a primary source. And just like the Gale databases, you can save this. You need to be signed in, I guess. You can print it, you can share it with your group members, you can download it, and if you click citation, you can choose MLA, Chicago, or Harvard. MLA and Chicago are the 2 ones most common for History Day. And again, it'll give you exactly how to add it to your bibliography. And then you just add your own notes, the annotated part. So those are all the online resources that I wanted to show you specifically, but we have a ton more. So I really encourage you, as you get started on your project, to go back to that Research and Learn All Online Resources tab and look at everything in the history and government category. So there's African American History Online that we just looked at, Digital Maryland. The Digital Public Library of America has, so many things. There's the Gale in Context that we looked at. Gale One File U.S. History has a lot of magazines and scholarly journals. Those are more at the college level, but there's some good stuff in there. Virtual Reference Library, this is a lot of encyclopedias and things of that nature related to history. There's Guide to Indigenous Maryland. And then this is a really cool one, Research Tools. This is a website that the Enoch Pratt Free Library puts together. And this is the library system for Baltimore City. So they have lots of research guides. Here's one on early Maryland history. And so you can follow those and find even more things to explore. Now, back to our slideshow. So now let's say you've done all your research and you know what you want to do for your project, and now you need to actually make your awesome project. Well, depending on what kind of project you're doing, we have some tools that you can use. In our makerspace at the Leonardtown Library, if you were going to do an exhibit or a performance, you might need a backdrop. We have a large format printer that can print out posters, banners, pretty much anything about yay wide and as long as you need. And it prints in full color and does a really good job. We have a scanner. Well, all three of our libraries have scanners, but we have a 3D scanner. So if you have an object that you want to make a copy of, you can do that. We have 3D printers. We have Cricut machines. We have sewing machines. So if you need to make a costume piece or a replica artifact, we have lots of things here for you to use. As I said, all three libraries have scanners and printers. We only have the large format printer at this library at Leonardtown in the makerspace, but all of our libraries have printers that can do up to 11 by 17, so a smaller poster. We also have what's called the Memory Lab. This is also at Leonardtown Library, and we have equipment for digitizing things. So maybe you found some really cool old photographic slides or negatives. Maybe you have an old movie that's on actual movie film. We have the equipment that you need to digitize those and use them in a slideshow, in a video, to insert them into a paper that you're writing on a computer. All of our libraries also have study and meeting rooms. So if you are working with a group and you need to have a meeting and you want to work on your project together, they have screens that you can sit and plug your computer into to work together. They have whiteboards. Now the Charlotte Hall Library only has one tiny study room. It's actually a booth in the lobby, but they have a meeting room, and you can book the meeting room, or you can also just visit the library and work together at a table. So those are some of the physical resources at the library that you can use. And I think that's my whole presentation on library resources. Did anybody have any more questions about things you can use from the library, about your History Day projects and presentations, or anything that we've talked about? Or something we didn't talk about that you wished we would?
I'm just going to add that creating things is awesome, but we do expect that kids will take the lead on design and creation. I know sometimes we want to help them, but they have to be able to explain to us in judging how they came up with something. And so that's kind of important that they can explain to us and describe to us that they took the lead, that they designed, that they created. So it's like, yeah, you can help with the safety stuff, with like helping them learn how to use a sewing machine or anything, but we want the kids to get hands-on with these projects.
Yep. So it's better that it looks like a kid made it than that the adults took over.
I've seen some interesting projects that I can tell you the kids will amaze you with what they can do. And with judging, just a key point, parents are not allowed in when the kids are being judged. It's usually a group of judges, but sometimes we have learned over the years that parents being in there, the kids will get a little nervous, and that we ask the parents to step out and for just a few minutes, and it's all done in 10 minutes, their presentation part. And we're excited to showcase what you guys or what your students create.
All right. And again, if you need to get in touch with either of us to follow up on questions from tonight, or like, what was that thing you showed me? There is our contact information in the chat. Any final questions before we go? You can drop it in the chat if you like, or raise your hand and we'll help you unmute.
I did see we had somebody register during tonight's thing, so I think it may have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I see we got a new message. Is it required to attend the judging contest? How long does it last?
So the event itself will start at 9. We expect to be done based on the number of projects by 3:30. We do open it up to the community during part of the day. So judging will start at 9 o'clock. They'll be, and then by 12 to 1, you guys will kind of go to lunch. It'll open up to the public, and then after 1 o'clock, we'll have an awards ceremony. Everybody will get like a certificate of participation. The specialty awards will be handed out, and then it'll be clean up and go home time. Leave the library better than we found it.
All right. Thanks, Kathy.
Yes, you are required that you're required to be with your project. You're required to be there for when we judge, because if it's your project, we have to ask you questions about it. But then you'll get something in the mail anyway, or via email about where your project placed afterward.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks. And I saw that Aubrey asked in the chat, will this presentation be shared via email with us or posted to your website? So Becca just shared the link to the slides. We also recorded this presentation. So within a few days, it'll be on the library's YouTube channel, and we'll send everybody who registered the link so you can watch it again. Or if some of your group members weren't here tonight, you can have them watch it. And Catherine will also have the link to share with anybody who registers for History Day after tonight and didn't get a chance to join us. Aubrey says, will you have to stay until 3 p.m.?
We'd like for you to, but once your project's judged, you can kind of go home for the day and then come back for the award ceremony or what have you. You are expected to take your project home. I can't keep all the artwork or creations as awesome as they are. So we do recommend you stay because you're responsible for your project.
All right, great questions.
Awesome.
Does anybody have any more questions? All right, well, we can't wait to see what amazing projects you come up with. And don't be shy either. Yeah, come into the library and tell us what you're working on, and we will be happy to show you again how to find the resources and where things are. All right, if there are no more questions, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thanks, everyone.